Official, Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet, and now the Packers have to look towards the post Aaron Rodgers era. So today I want to run through a 7 round mock draft for the Green Bay Packers, kind of mapping out their future and what to expect heading into this draft. So before we get into the mock draft here, let's take a look at the depth chart for the Packers. Obviously, Jordan Love, he's the next man up. It's time to build around him, give him pieces to succeed, to see if he could be the quarterback of the future. With that, we have to address the receivers. We have to get a big time tight end threat. We also probably need to shore up this whole right side of this offensive line with some depth pieces or even possibly starters to help protect Jordan Love and keep him upright. Looking at the defensive side of the ball here, this is not going to be our priority in the draft, but we definitely have to address some gaping holes. This defense has had a lot of assets poured into it in the last few years, and somehow they still manage to have gaping holes across the board. We see in the secondary, desperately in need of a safety. Honestly, at edge rusher, we're also desperately in need of another guy that can maybe start or rotate in with Preston Smith, especially Rashawn Gary coming off his ACL. We need another guy to come off the edge to rush the passer. We need defensive line help. At the same time, we see TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt. These guys are young. They haven't played a ton of snaps. We need depth. Overall, this team has a lot of gaping holes. They have some solid foundational pieces with David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, etc. But we need to fill in some of these holes. 4 or 5 guys aren't going to carry this whole team. So that in mind, let's jump into the mock draft. Heading into it right off the bat, we have pick 13 as we swap picks with the New York Jets. So sitting here at pick 13, it's clear as day. We see Nolan Smith. He's already gone off the board. So with him gone and JSN, Jaxon Smith-Njigba sitting here, the best, probably the number one receiver in this draft class. He's a phenomenal route runner. He's not the fastest straight line guy, but he is short area quickness is off the charts. He's going to be an absolute mismatch in the slot, beating up on nickels, Sam linebackers, and especially when you have a slot receiver that can work underneath. It's a really big safety net for your quarterback. Now, on top of that, heading into round 2 here at pick 42 from the Jets, as we all know, the Packers love drafting Georgia football players. Let's stay on the same mantra here. Let's take Darnell Washington. Big 6'6", 270, can run block, is good after the catch. I think his tape is honestly underrated. I think he's a guy that could maybe even slide into the first round. But if he falls here to pick 42 for us, we're getting Mercedes Lewis, the 16-year younger version of Mercedes Lewis. And I think any Packers fan would love to get the young Mercedes Lewis. And that's who I think Darnell Washington has the upside or ceiling to pan out to be. Heading here at pick 45, we got ourselves a big body, inline, wide tight end. We got ourselves the best slot receiver in the class. What else could we look to build upon? I think we could go edge rusher here. I know that's probably what everybody's screaming at me to do. Felix from K-State. I struggle to pronounce names, so I won't even attempt to pronounce his last name. Obviously, it's a little bit concerning just because his tape is limited from K-State since they play that 3-3-5. He played a 5-tech. The tape's limited. To say the least, the tape is limited, and there are concerns. I like the upside. I think we need edge rusher. Do we want to take the risk and roll the dice on it is the question. I think, honestly, with what's sitting here on the board, actually, pick 45, I know everybody's probably screaming, take edge. We're switching gears here. We're taking Keanu Benton. This is a guy that's, I think, has phenomenal upside. He might sneak in. He should probably sneak into the first round. But if he's here into the second round for us, he's a steal. We're taking him. He's going to fit right next to Kenny Clark. He's going to be good at rushing the passer. He's going to be good at stopping the run. Overall, just a really sound football player. And look at this. Things pan out pretty well for us because then now we have Nick Herbig from Wisconsin falling to us here in the third round. Another massive steal. He's a guy that he's not going to have 12, 15 sacks, but he's going to be a guy that he will be able to rotate in and alleviate that pressure off of Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary and be a quality third guy, or should I say the first guy off the bench as an edge rusher. So far, I think it's been a phenomenal draft. We've addressed some of the biggest needs. We got ourselves the best slot receiver in the class. We got ourselves one of the best, probably the best inline tight end in the draft class. On top of that, we got ourselves a solid 3-tech nose tackle in Keanu Benton. We got ourselves a solid rotational edge rusher in Nick Herbig. So far, this draft is phenomenal. I would be ecstatic as a Packers fan. Now, heading into the fourth round, what route do we want to go? I think Isaiah McGuire could be a guy. Carl Brooks is definitely enticing, another defensive tackle, but there's some late round guys that I think I'm going to want to target on the D-line, so we'll stay away from Carl Brooks for now. I think what's really jumping out the screen here, Ivan Pace would definitely be extremely enticing. Andrew Voorhees obviously tore his ACL. Probably won't play this year. If he does, it'll be late in there. He could be an interesting value piece here if we're really kicking the can down the road and not worrying about competing this year. But honestly, I keep coming back here to Ivan Pace. I don't think he ran the fastest 40. I think he's like a 4.7, 4.6. Obviously, the 40 time is a little bit concerning, but he had a phenomenal Senior Bowl. I think he looks like a Swiss Army knife. He can rush off the edge. He can bump back and play Mike and play coverage. I think he's a Swiss Army knife. He's a little raw. We got to find his role on the defense. But like I said, he's a guy that he's going to bump in and out from different spots and just alleviate that pressure off of guys like Devondre Campbell, Preston Smith, and whatnot. So again, like I said, these guys aren't instant plug-in day one starters, but these are filling huge depth pieces that are dire needs for this Packers defense. Heading here into the 5th round, we have yet to address safety. We have yet to address offensive line. We're kind of kicking the can here a little bit. I think we could go Ronnie Hickman from Ohio State. It's fine. I'm not ecstatic. He's going to have to probably slot in and start day one. It's not what I would want, but we're going to have to do it out of pure need. We avoided taking a safety. It kind of is biting us in the ass right now, but at the end of the day, we found the offensive weapons for Jordan Love, and that's what's so crucial is we need to get those pieces for Love, which is what we did. So if the secondary gets torched a little bit next year, I'm fine with it as long as we got the pieces to figure out if Jordan Love is the man of the future. Staying on the subject of getting weapons for Jordan Love, let's jump in here and let's take Grant DuBose. I think this is honestly a clone of Romeo Doubs. He's not great off of the line against press man. He really struggles to kind of win his releases off the line of scrimmage, but he's a sure-handed guy, maybe one of the best contested catch guys in this draft class. So again, 6'2", 6'3", probably projects more as a Z as an outside receiver. Again, probably won't be a day one starter, but he's going to be able to spell Romeo Doubs to give some depth outside at the outside receiver position. Heading here into the 7th, we're not looking for slot-in day one starters, obviously. We're looking for a high upside guys. And immediately, one of my favorite late-round projects is B.J. Thompson, 6'6", 6'7", a little bit light at 210, but he's got a big frame, freaky athletic. Again, he reminds me a lot of Ivan Pace, but obviously he's much more raw and he's much more physically underdeveloped. His B.J. Thompson's ceiling is the limit. Honestly, if he reaches peak ceiling, he's Micah Parsons, a Swiss Army knife that can rush the passer, bump back and play Mike linebacker, whatever you want. But there's a reason why he's a 7th round pick. He's going to need at least minimum 2 years of development. He's extremely raw. His body's not ready for it yet. But if you can capitalize off that, you could have a couple good all-pro years out of B.J. Thompson. Or hell, you might get a player that's out of the league in 2 years. But at the end of the day, you got to swing for the fences in the 7th round. So staying on that same subject of swinging for the fences, we're actually not going to follow our advice. We're going to flip gears here a little bit, and we're going to go fullback Hunter Lepke. It's a common theme throughout this draft class. We're looking for Swiss Army knives that can play multiple roles because of how many holes are on this roster. Hunter Lepke has experience playing inline tight end as the Y, his experience playing off the ball as a fullback, as an H-back. He also has played time in the slot. He's, again, I can't keep beating the dead horse here, but he's a Swiss Army knife. He can play every position. Ideally, week one, he's going to open up as our starting fullback and help alleviate some of that pressure off of Jordan Love. We're going to be handing the ball off a lot, and I believe that Hunter Lepke will be the man paving the way for big man A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones to gash the NFC North throughout this next year. Staying on the same subject of North Dakota State players, we're going to go tight end again here. Noah Gindorf. This is another 6'7", huge body, not a Swiss Army knife. I won't keep beating that dead horse, but this is a guy that he's a solid tight end. If he never tore his ACL, probably would be a 3rd round pick. 6'7", runs extremely well. He's going to be a nice depth piece behind Darnell Washington. I honestly view it as a possible Robert Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis connection or duo there at the tight end spot. So heading here into the 7th round with our last pick, again, not looking for a starter, just looking for some pieces to add some depth to the team, maybe a high upside guy. There is someone that had caught my eye. I don't know if he's still here. Does not look like he will be. Let's go D-line. Looking for West Virginia. Yep, he's off the board. A little bit disappointing, but that's fine. We'll live with it. Not the end of the world. I think there's a lot of spots we could go here, but we're going to just take the safe pick. One of my favorite running backs as a Big Ten fan, Mohamed Ibrahim has had a huge workload. I think he'll slot in as a solid RB3. Kind of a throwaway pick here. I don't think he'll ever really amount to anything. Yeah, we'll go with Mohamed Ibrahim. I think he could be someone that develops if Aaron Jones is gone after this next season. Kind of just a dart throw. Not super fired up about the pick, but again, last pick in the 7th round. Not really looking for a day one starter there. So here we go. Overview of the draft. JSN, best slot receiver in the class. He's going to dominate underneath. Hell, he might be able to bump out and play Z for us, but I love him in the slot. I think he's going to be a mismatch against any man coverage. He's going to beat up on any nickel Sam linebacker. Love the pick. He's going to be a huge safety net for Jordan Love. Add on top of that, Darnell Washington, or should I say Mercedes Lewis Jr. here. Big inline wide tight end, a behemoth in the run game, is able to move bodies off the ball. He's also a threat with the run after catch ability. Just a big human being. Like I said, we're getting Mercedes Lewis at his 22, 21-year-old version. You love to see it. Keanu Benton here, a solid defensive lineman. He's going to plug in. You could probably get TJ Slaton off the field. He could probably play nose. Honestly, I wouldn't hate him bumping out to play 3 either. Again, he could honestly probably win a starting role week 1. Overall, really sound football player. He's not going to light up the sack stat. He's not going to light up the sack stats. He's not going to go for 15 sacks or whatnot. He's just going to be a solid foundational piece of this D-line. Same story with Nick Erbig here. Not a phenomenal edge rusher. I don't expect him to be a 20-sack guy. I don't expect him to be the next Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa, but he's going to be your next Andrew Van Ginkel. You don't hear a lot about him, but he's just going to be a solid football player that gets you 6 to 8 sacks a year, solid against the run, a quality depth piece, and if Rashawn Gary isn't ready week 1, I'm not fretting about having to have Nick Erbig step in and be a week 1 starter. Here we go in these later rounds at round 4. We're looking for our Swiss Army knives here. Ivan Pace Jr. can rush off the edge, can be the Mike linebacker. Really desperate need is to get some depth at that middle linebacker position. We had a lot of guys walk. Ivan Pace will slot in, probably be the 3rd linebacker behind Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell. Huge need. They need to probably address maybe getting a veteran in free agency to help out with the depth piece. Because like I said, I don't love Ivan Pace's 40 time. I don't love him in coverage. He's able to do it, but I'd rather see him be that hybrid move around backer, really kind of get creative with some blitz designs with him. Ronnie Hickman, it's concerning having him be our only safety leaving this draft. I understand. I'm not going to address it any further than that. Probably should have looked at a guy in the 3rd, maybe even in the 1st, in the 3rd, maybe the 4th. Ronnie Hickman will be fine. I don't love it, but like I said, our priority in this draft class was getting pieces for Jordan Love, so we had to address that early. We had to solidify the box. So I don't like it, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Moving forward, Grant DuBose, clone Romeo Doubs, that's who Grant DuBose is. Like I said, not great off the line of scrimmage with his releases. That's why he's a 6th-round pick, but he's a sure-handed receiver. He's phenomenal as a contested catch guy. He has the ability to have some run after catch ability. I like his upside. He's a safe receiver. Like I said, having a sure-handed jump ball receiver could be a big safety net for Jordan Love. And like I said, we're looking here in the 6th round to fill out some of the depth pieces, some of these role players on the offense. I think Grant DuBose will be a solid, quality rotational piece with Romeo Doubs. BJ Thompson, he's the biggest project of the draft class, yet I think he might have the highest ceiling out of anybody we drafted. BJ Thompson could turn into Micah Parsons if we spend 2 years to properly develop him, or he could be out of the league within the next 2 years. No matter what happens, he's a freak of athlete. He's a super raw project. You're really just getting a 6'6", 6'7" freak athlete, and you're trying to morph him like Play-Doh into the player you want him to be. That's why I would be pumped to get him in the 7th. Hunter Lepke, going back into that Swiss Army knife role. BJ Thompson also fits that Swiss Army knife role. Hunter Lepke can play in the slot, can play in line at Y, but I would love to see him line up in the backfield in a 3-point stance, being the true fullback, H-back for this Packers offense, leading the way on these outside zone run plays and caving in opposing linebackers for Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Noah Gindorf, I think this could be the 1-2 combo. Like I said, getting the Moose, Noah Gindorf, and Darnell Washington could possibly replace that Robert Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis combo. Honestly, I think Noah Gindorf and Darnell Washington are probably a lot more similar. So I don't hate it. These are guys that I think the Packers need to live out of 12 personnel next year. I think these guys are going to be able to line up in line at tight end, block their asses off, be able to be a threat with the run after catch ability. I like the upside. Noah Gendorf probably won't be ready week 1, but I think maybe later on in the year, week 4, week 5, maybe week 6, he's going to push and he's going to see a significant set of playing time, especially spelling Darnell Washington off the field. Round 7, pick 256, we take Mohamed Ibrahim. This is just kind of a luxury pick here, just to see what happens. Really good outside zone runner. Has been a hell of a player for Minnesota. Has had a lot of mileage under his belt. But if Aaron Jones happens to go down, if A.J. Dillon happens to go down, I wouldn't hate to see Mohamed Ibrahim slot in. He's a solid outside zone runner. Honestly, I'd feel pretty comfortable with him being slotting in as an RB2 if any injuries were to happen. So that wraps up the draft. Obviously, we did not address the O-line, but Josh Nijman has played decently well. John Runyon has played okay. It's Josh Myers. We probably needed to address the O-line in the draft. I won't lie to you. We kind of focus on getting these weapons and building the interior of the D-line. We probably should have addressed maybe the O-line here especially. Maybe we could have passed on Keanu Benton and took an offensive lineman. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. We got the best slot receiver. We got possibly the best in-line wide tight end. We got a lot of good, versatile defensive pieces. Let me know your thoughts down below. I love hearing from you guys. Let me know if you guys think Jordan Love will be the next Hall of Fame quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Like I said, I love hearing from you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.